Hey, and welcome to Truth Be Bold by the truth coach herself, Kelly Accetta.
Welcome to our podcast, Truth Be Bold, and we are just so excited to welcome our special guest tonight, Mycal Anders. So with that being said, I am going to go ahead and read Mycal's bio, which is amazing. And Mycal is a husband and father of two. He is on a mission to help people show up in the world as the best version of themselves. An accomplished athlete, Mycal is also a combat veteran, having led and served in Operation Enduring Freedom in the Marine Corps. He has been an entrepreneur for over 10 years, has built the #1 rated CrossFit gym in America, as rated by Men's Journal, an Amazon bestselling author, podcast host with over 1 million downloads. Mycal's mantra is progress always. Success begins with a look inside. His success is driven by his innate curiosity, and he'll tell you himself that he's only gotten this far because of what he did not know. Mycal has committed his life to mastering the art of using physical development as the conduit for self-exploration in the emotional, mental, and spiritual planes. It is the mechanism that perpetuates the clarity to step out into the world as the best version of yourself. Marine Corps veteran, bachelor's in health and human performance, master's in exercise and wellness, currently in an executive master's in global management for entrepreneurial leadership. Welcome, Mycal Anders, and one of my dearest friends who I miss so much. So glad to have you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Like I told you before we got on, this is very much a full circle moment for me. So I really appreciate you honoring me with the opportunity to speak to your audience.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And you know, I was reading your book recently. This is Mycal's book, and it is absolutely spectacular. It is Inner Circle: Focus and Fulfillment Habits for the Enlightened. And I'm telling you, this is a must read, you guys. But as I was reading your book, it was just awesome because when I met you, you were just kind of like making your way, trying to figure out what you wanted to do with your life. I think I met you when you were 21, 22.
22. Yeah, 22.
Crazy. And you were thinking about at that time of going into personal training. And I mean, back then, there was really no such thing as like a field. I mean, we now understand personal training is a massive field of expertise, but you were one of the first people I know that really went into that field. And what inspired you to go that direction?
Well, a handful of different things. I've been an athlete my whole life, so that was, my initial journey into the gym had everything to do with trying to get a scholarship for football. And I took an apprenticeship at my local Gold's Gym back east in Waldorf, Maryland, when I was 16, so I didn't have to pay for a gym membership. And then my journey, my cause, my mission was further propelled. My father didn't take very good care of himself. Smoked like a chimney, McDonald's 3 times a day, type 2 diabetic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I remember having a conversation with him before he passed. And, I have all this newfound knowledge. I understand the science behind physical development, and, like, who better to start with than the people within arm's reach that you care the most about? And I'm like, Dad, if we get on this program, we can change your life. And I remember him looking back at me and saying, well, I've made it this far. I don't really need to change anything. And I made it my life's mission right then and there to do my best to make sure that narrative, that self-talk, we killed that. And so I've taken that and made it, the predominance of my professional education. When I was active duty in the Marine Corps, I was the training and standardization officer for a handful of units that I was attached to, and also helped write the upper body development protocol for female recruits, which I think is really interesting that we're having a conversation geared towards women this evening. There was this narrative in the Marine Corps that women can't do pull-ups and they shouldn't do pull-ups. And I ended up writing the program that helped women do pull-ups, and now it's part of our physical fitness test in the Marine Corps. So shout out to all you strong women out there. Now, as I've evolved in my career, I'm a self-described performance consultant. The physical aspect of who we are is just the foundation that sets the stage for our emotional, mental, and spiritual states of being. And once we get that lifestyle taken care of, the routine of taking care of our physical self, now we have the bandwidth to really dive into who we are and how we show up. And that's where the change really occurs.
Yeah. I would always say this to people, and it sounds like you have the same philosophy, that, success really is the same book of rules. If you want to be successful in your physical life, you want to be successful in your financial life, you want to be successful in your spiritual life, it's really the same book of rules, right? Like setting a goal, breaking down that goal, and making sure you stick with that goal.
Yep.
And I love what you said. It's performance. It doesn't matter what area of our life, how we perform. I love that quote, how we do anything is how we do everything.
Oh yeah.
And and that's so true. And if we can figure out the key to up here that keeps us moving forward and not giving up, not getting frustrated, we can unlock our life, right? I mean,
oh yeah.
Do you see that with your clients?
Oh, 100%. They're part of the goal setting process that we move through eventually, if not right off the bat, is making sure that the reason that they continue to show up and train with me and with us at Next Level is based on goals that they own. So a lot of the reason that people show up in the first place is because they've led themselves to believe that if they change this one aspect of themselves, that somebody will think better of them, or all of a sudden it will create a better opportunity for them. And what the truth of it is, there's this switch that goes on, whether it's conscious or subconscious. When you build that physical routine, you start to look at yourself different. You start to think about yourself differently. And then all of a sudden, these opportunities and the way people respond to you and how you show up in the world isn't necessarily a direct result of your physical manifestation, but more so the command presence that you walk into a room with, the confidence, you stand a little bit taller, you smile more, you talk differently, your tone and rate of speech is different when you're in a place of positivity and confidence, as opposed to the small nonverbals, the shying away, the aversion of eye contact. All of that stuff changes when you feel better about yourself. And that's why, as I look at that hierarchy, it starts with the physical, because if we can change how you feel, we will inevitably change how you show up.
Absolutely. And isn't it amazing? One of my biggest chapters in my book is comparison. And isn't it amazing? You mean
the killer of joy?
Yes, exactly. It's amazing where, I have friends of mine who are what society would consider big girls, large women.
Yeah.
but they walk with such a confidence. And I mean, people want to be them. And so much of the time, women especially, I can't speak for men, but we just buy into society's version of what we're supposed to look like. And I know I did that for many years. And when we just shift that focus into being strong, being healthy, and being happy, and like you said, the confidence that just arises, it doesn't matter what size you are, people are going to notice, they're going to look, right? I mean, do you have clients that just, they're not stick thin, they're not necessarily in the greatest shape, but they just have a presence, and it's so awesome to see when you own where you are in life, when you own who you are in life. That's sexy, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, you have to have an appreciation at some point for where you are, right? Comparison is said to be the killer of joy. When you're focused on externally, a lot of the time these are aspects of life, of your universe, of your environment that you're in no control over. And when we're talking about, how you feel about yourself because of the comparison you've drawn to somebody else, there is no quicker way to kill a routine in the making than that dynamic. Perfect example in my journey in entrepreneurship. I've been brick and mortar for 8 years now. Next level's we just celebrated 10 years, right? And thank you very much. And there's a local fitness franchise here in Arizona called Mountaintop Fitness. And I just saw on his feed the owner celebrating 30 years, right? These are beautiful facilities with all the amenities, the spa, the towel service, the newest and greatest equipment, etc. And for me at 10 years, right, to not acknowledge the progress that has taken place over the last decade, because I'm comparing to myself to where Tom Hatton and Mountainside Fitness is at 30 years, it would completely destroy how I feel about, and then that that would carry over into how we progress as a company, because I'm trying to bridge a 20-year gap that's impossible to bridge, right? And I watch people in fitness do it all the time. They're watching very experienced, savvy athletes do very sexy things, specifically in the CrossFit space. And they're like, but I can't even do a pull-up. I'm like, okay, well, if that's really and truly where you want to go, and that's a goal that you want to own, then let's start with that pull-up. Because you can't do that if you can't do the pull-up. So let's do that first, right? Let's not put the cart before the horse, if you will.
Right.
That's where a lot of people mess it up. And then when you really peel back all the layers of, these people that exemplify where you want to be in your fitness journey, these folks tend to be in love with the boring and monotonous aspects of living a quality, healthy lifestyle. They take care of their sleep. They value what they put in their body. The physical fitness aspect of it, the working out, the training is part of their lifestyle. It's built into their calendar somehow, some way, so that they don't go without, and they create a universe where their priorities are in line, and they serve these synergistic priorities serve each other so that they exist as the highest level of themselves. And I think that's something that people just, naively overlook is, oh, they have it all. They were blessed with great genetics and The list goes on and on and on, all the things that they were just gifted by the universe. When the truth of the matter is, they are committed, and they value certain things that are conducive to that commitment. And that's not to be bypassed.
Absolutely. What would you say to somebody who, and I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but they come to you and they say, I've tried everything. I've tried it all. What would you say to somebody?
2 words, probably not. You know, it's a very surface level analysis of their lack of progress. I've tried everything. Well, ultimately, regardless of what method of exercise that you subscribe to, consistency is king, right? If you walk around the block every single day, great things will happen. If you come to next level and you train CrossFit every single day, good things will happen, right? But the critical point there is showing up every day, right? The consistency is the key. It's not the intensity. It's not it's not the barbell. It's not the cardio. It's not the nutrition. All of that stuff plays a role, but it's doing it all consistently that truly matters, right? And by consistent, I don't mean getting it 100% right all the time, day in and day out, right? We travel, we're busy, we're raising kids, you know, we're maintaining a household, we're working, we're doing all of these things, but building in that discipline to just move the needle a little bit every day is what truly matters. Perfect example. We're doing a 10,000 double under challenge. We're trying to get our members on board to do the jump rope for 10,000 reps in the month of January, right? And I made it my personal mission to get to 10,000 by doing 500 a day. Well, today is my first day in the spring semester. I had clients all morning, and then I spent the majority of the afternoon programming for my remote clients. Didn't touch the jump rope. And I was getting ready to walk out of the gym to head down here to school, knowing that we were going to have this conversation immediately after class. I'm not going back to the gym today. I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. So I had to accept the fact that I didn't position myself to get those 500 reps today. But you know what I could do is get 50. So before I left the gym today, I ran back inside. This is no joke. The car was packed. I was on the way. Keys in the ignition. I ran back in the gym, grabbed my jump rope, did 50 reps, moved the needle just a little bit. I'm further along today than I was yesterday. And then I got on down to school. But it's that consistency. It's not about the magnitude of progress. It's about progress, period. That's why my mantra now is progress always. Because it's not about crossing this giant chasm. It's about just taking one step towards where you're going each and every day.
Absolutely. And I think because I know your background, I know that we're probably very in sync with this. I'm about to do a workshop this Saturday, and it's going to be all on goals because I did a lot of radio last year in January, and it was all about people aren't even setting resolutions anymore because they never achieve them. And I was talking about how, resolutions never work because they're too broad. They're too lofty. They're not specific enough. And so goals are really the only way to accomplish what you want to. And so what we're doing this Saturday is we're going to take goals and break them down into smaller chunks. And I gotta think that that's what we need to do if we're struggling physically. You know, isn't it the same thing? Like, don't you need to like have a goal and then figure it out, work it backwards, and say, okay, I'm going to stop eating sugar. And then don't do everything all at one time, but just start making the small steps. What would you say to that?
100%. You know, you can't. You know, how do you eat an elephant? Right? We've all heard that cliche before. You know, one bite at a time. And, you know, where I see a lot of people in the fitness industry mess it up is they try to overload their clients with, these massive changes. Like, I have a client right now who's not super consistent, right? So that's literally all we're working on. I just need you to show up. I just need you to show up. Don't text me about what you're eating today. Don't ask me what the workout is. None of that. I just need you to walk through the door, cross the threshold, right?
I love it.
From there, the rest will take care of itself.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But the other part of the reframing that I try to help my clients with is, going back to goals is, like aesthetics is nice, like wanting to lose fat and look like whoever your avatar is, that's nice, right? But what purpose does that serve, right? So making that shift to understand why we're about to go through this process, and also what the desired outcome is. Like in my world, we talk a lot about performance. What do you want to be able to do with this new body that we're about to build? Is it that one pull-up? Is it, I just got promoted and I want to stand before my staff as the best version of myself? Like what are we serving?
Mm-hmm.
And once we accomplish that, what's the next thing, right? Once we get that pull-up, now what are we working on? Are we talking about a heavier squat? Are we talking about a better squat? Are we talking about running a mile? Are we talking about running a 6-minute mile? Like, there are all these things that, we start so abstract, but as soon as we can get to a really narrow that focus to something extremely specific, now those baby steps that we often overlook because they're not the top of Mount Everest, we get to appreciate that. So, oh, I'm 1 second closer. I'm 1 pound closer. I'm 1 meal better, right? We start to appreciate those little things, and that's what really snowballs the momentum that keeps you going.
Yeah, it builds your confidence.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome. And it's amazing because your book, your whole background is in fitness, but your book isn't about fitness at all. I love it. Tell everyone a little bit about your book.
So I am obsessed with success, whether that's looking good on stage for a bodybuilding competition, whether that's winning a national championship at the University of Alabama, whether that's, right? Whether that's, making your first $1 million, whether, it's marrying your life partner and raising successful children, right? The principles that go into any of that, to really drive home that point that you made earlier, are very similar, right? When we're talking about principles, where we get lost is in the methodology, like how we execute those principles. But that stuff doesn't change, consistency, mentorship, education, right? All of that stuff, surrounding yourself with the examples that you want to be, right? All of that stuff, regardless of, what genre of life we're exploring, those are maxims of life. And in that exploration, I started a podcast with a buddy of mine 4 years ago. And that's the conversation we're having with leaders of industry, extremely successful partners in romantic relationships and in business, thriving companies, et cetera. These people just exemplify success in multiple areas of life. And it's that we, there's 11 recurring principles that are manifested in those conversations. I pulled those out and looked back at how they manifested in my life, and that's what I shared in Inner Circle.
Yeah, I love your book. It's awesome. It's amazing uh, to see your growth, and it's just an honor to have the opportunity to meet you when you were young and not knowing quite what you wanted to do with your life, and now you are an accomplished author and just have done so much and have a beautiful family. We are going to be shutting off our Facebook stream right now, and we're going to go backstage with Mycal. If you are not a part of my community, go to my website. It's too late for this one, but you do not want to miss. I have a special guest every single month, second Wednesday of the month. I know amazing people, and I want to bring them to you. And after we finish up our main session, we get to go backstage with our experts and pick their brain, ask questions, get answers to those burning questions. I know I've got a question for you as soon as we go backstage, is what is up with the female metabolism after 40? I want answers, Mycal, and I'm excited to get them when we go backstage. But before we do, we've got 1 more minute. How can people reach you? How can they find you? I know we're going to put your links all in the comments down in below. Watch for those comments after we finish tonight. Go back and re-look at the comments, and he'll have all of his links. But how can people reach you? How can they get your book? How can they find you?
You can find Inner Circle on Amazon. That's probably the fastest way to find it. And then you can find our Next Level community at nextlevelpfc.com, as well as I'm most responsive and engaged on Instagram. And my handle is Coach DERZ, Coach Ders on Instagram. So slide up in my DMs. Let's have a conversation. I'd love to engage with all of you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much.
For more episodes of Truth Be Bold, visit our website at www.truth.coach.